flushed. Hey, why'd you take a divot there?
I know, right? It's something that I think a lot of players should actually try and do with their fairway woods. Very common, they get a wood in their hand and they put the ball forward in their stance and they try and sweep it or hit it like a driver. Just because it looks like a driver doesn't necessarily mean that that is exactly how we play it.
100%.
So what I want you to do is I'm going to set up to this ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about really what I did to produce what I thought was a pretty good three-wood shot.
Yeah.
Hit down on the golf ball. I want you to explain the concept of why that needs to happen. And then from there, really the setup elements that helps allow that.
Sure. Right, so as you can, let's start with ball position first, right? So you can see he definitely does not have the ball all the way up here somewhere.
No.
Right? Because you definitely would actually start sweeping up, maybe actually even just hitting it off the bottom of the groove and not getting it anywhere, right?
Correct.
So what we cannot forget is this thing is still sitting on the ground and we don't have a lot of loft.
Yeah.
Right? So now as we have no loft, so this is probably somewhere around 15 degrees, we need the down to produce the launch and to get the ball up in the air.
Yeah, correct.
Otherwise it's not going to happen.
And especially the reason that we need a downward strike with any golf club when the ball's on the ground is because the size of the golf ball is so small. The equator of this golf ball is only just above the ground. Yeah. So what happens is if we have the intention of hitting up, imagine if we had a football, it's a lot bigger, so you have a lot more surface area underneath to hit it. But with a golf ball, it's so small, there actually isn't. So when you hit down, what you're encouraging these golf club to do is hit the golf ball in such a way where you're going to get more of the face making contact. Correct. And the loft is going to help it go up in the sky.
Correct.
But too many players, especially with a longer fairway wood such as this is 14.5 degrees.
It's a stronger 3-wood as well.
Yeah, it's a strong one. They're really going to struggle to get this up in the air. Oh, yeah. And I think for the majority of players, if they learn how to just hit down on the ball better with their 3-wood, it would just solve so many issues with their strike. So we've moved the ball back. Talk about low point and why we would move that back and where the low point should be.
Right, so as we know, we've talked about irons before, and I basically think the 3-wood swing should be very similar to an iron swing. It's longer, and we still want that low point to be forward. So as we're moving the ball back in stance, so now swing up to the top for me and just kind of get weight left in the cross. And as you can keep coming into the golf ball, what you guys see is that club is going to descend from here downwards into this golf ball, and it's going to meet the ball earlier on his swing arc. That's why we're moving the ball more back. The more we would move this up, he would bottom out here and then actually start traveling up, which would cause him to hit it low on the face and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, perfect. And in regards to ball position, sometimes just in relation to your feet is not the best reference. We actually want to use our left armpit, don't we?
Yeah.
Now, explain why we want to use our left armpit.
Because as you're swinging up to the top, right, we have a forward movement. So as you shift forward, that shoulder and that left armpit's actually moving ahead of the golf ball, which is something that I'm working on in my own golf swing a lot. And as we're moving ahead, and then you work in, we're going to produce, this is a lot further forward than it was at address, and it's going to produce that downward strike and that low point shifting to the front.
Very much so. So really at the end of the day, at the moment of impact, your lead arm is going to be fairly well extended as far away from its shoulder joint as possible. And because our left arm or left hand for a right-hander is the highest club hand on the golf club, that forms almost this one straight line. And the bottom of the swing arc traveling down, down, down is going to be as an extension of where my left armpit is.
Exactly.
Anything forward of that is going to raise up. So what happens is when people place their golf ball too far forward, you'll see that my armpit crease is actually behind the golf ball. So if I just swing back to that point of maximum length and extension, now all of a sudden
well behind.
We're going to be behind and hitting up. And if it's fluffy grass, you can get away with it. But generally what's going to happen is you're just going to hit too high on the equator. We're not going to get the results that we're looking for. Yeah. So in your setup, as a general reference, look, I like to see it about a comfortable club head inside the lead foot. Yeah. But really, end of the day, if you want to get your left armpit crease kind of, let's say on the inside of that lead heel there and the ball back of that, you're going to be in a good position. Now, let's talk about intention, because there's no point just getting to the top here and then trying to swing down because we're going to swing too steep and across and swipe. How do players ensure that they are hitting down? It's not really about thinking about hitting down. It's about ensuring that their body's far enough forward at impact.
100%.
And they're not standing back and trying to help it up in the air.
I think that's for most people hitting like a 3-wood with a lot of loft. They think, man, I really bad at this. I want to hang back. I want to get this thing up. Yeah. So to do the very opposite of what you should be doing. So swing it up to the top for me there, Kerrod. Right, so what we're really trying to encourage, if I step here and you put my hand here onto your shoulder and also onto your hip, try to kind of push me towards the driving range.
Yeah.
So that's the feeling that I need you to get. And then from there, you're going to extend and fire this puppy hard, and you're going to absolutely crunch this, because we're allowing ourselves to actually push forward ahead of the golf ball. And then as we're letting everything extend and fire, we're going to shift that low point forward. We're going to create good structural loft, good low point control, and hit enough down on that 3-wood to get it up in the air.
I love it. A great drill to get this feeling, guys, is to put the golf club across your shoulders like this, swing to the top, and what you're going to do is you're going to shift your weight forward, but keep the end of the golf club pointing at the golf ball for as long as you can.
Yeah.
That'll ensure that your chest is staying back. We just did 5 videos all on a very similar topic of how to shallow the golf swing correctly, how to get your sequence correctly, how to get your timing ready,
Yes.
all around kind of letting this right arm lengthen down in front. But if we keep that invisible line kind of pointing at the golf ball for as long as we can, that's going to allow ourselves to recenter back onto our front foot and really put a lot of force and pressure into that front foot, which the invisible force of us doing that then allows us to get forward, extend, and compress that golf ball with a lot of power.
Yes.
The concept of sweeping the ball off the ground for a lot of players with a fairway wood, it just encourages them to place the ball too far forward and get their lead shoulder moving up and back away. And we do not want this. I would actually just do a whole bunch of practice swings, really feeling that at the moment of impact, your lead shoulder's as low and as forward as possible. The more you do that, at least the club will be working on a downward strike. And the benefit, the side benefit of this, is you will probably find that your golf club, due to the fact that it's still working down, is actually going to meet the ball from the inside. And then before you know it, you might even get a little push draw out of it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect. All right, mate, so tying this all together, I got the ball a little bit further back. I'm going to rehearse, swing to the top, feeling like lead armpit is down and across all the way down into impact. Don't be afraid to take a divot. I'll tell you what, just from those last few little rehearsals, that is about as pure as it gets.
Yes.
Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.